Yes, AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. We continue our conversation with Lisa Spencer, the Indiana County Department of Human Services, Kathy Abbey Baker, the Children's Advisory Commission of Indiana County, and the subject is the Indiana County Speaks Up survey, which we've been talking about specific issues, and maybe we'll get into some more of those as we continue our conversation now here in Indiana in the morning. But we also want to get into, there are a series of public meetings coming up.
Yes.
Folks can learn much more. Mm-hmm. And as well, we want to get into, okay, who took the survey? Who actually took the time to answer? Which,
right.
Kathy, that's pretty fascinating look right there.
Yeah, I have a pretty much general synopsis of a person who took the survey. They're female. 73% of the folks who answered this survey were. And if you compare that to the 2010 census for Indiana County, there's 50% female. Mm. And it's not unusual for females to answer surveys more. I think that's kind of a given for whatever reason. Maybe we talk more. I don't know. We want to express our opinions more. I'm not.
We
really
care more.
The person was married. 72% were married, and that kind of correlates with the census of about 62% in 2010 that were married. What is interesting, too, is that the education levels of the folks who responded, 4-year or more degree, 56% is compared to 29%. Now, that doesn't in and of itself mean much, just that the people possibly have more familiarity with doing online surveys because it was an online survey. And there's a little bit more of a trick to doing that. Mm-hmm. So the other statistic on this is, and this correlates right with Indiana County as a whole, 82% of those who responded own their own home, 83% work in Indiana County, and 67% are employed full-time. And that correlates pretty well to the 2016 community survey where 57% of folks 16 and over were full-time employees, and of the group the age group from 25 to 59, 75 to 80% are employed full-time in Indiana County. Mm-hmm. So, age group 35 to 54, 44% of the respondents were in that age group. So, it's Lisa and I.
It's the two of you. That's what I'm thinking here. The two of you are the average, or were you the only ones who took the survey?
All right, I'm sorry. I took it 1,000 times. I'm so sorry. No, and one of the groups that it's most underrepresented, was the most underrepresented, it ended up being the seniors after that big push. We only had 12% of seniors, and those were the ones I guessed that we were mailing out the hard copies because we had sent them to the aging services, like senior centers, and we were really trying to get that population in. And I know we mailed out many, many hard copies.
And see, I knew you were doing that, and so I figured the senior representation would be very good because at each of the senior centers, that's where the people go.
Right. And then the other part was when we were, publicizing all of this and trying to market it and get people to take it, we were throwing out challenges to the seniors. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we were back to the office, those were the ones calling for the hard copies. And so they're like, I just heard you on the radio and I'd like you to mail me one. And so I was just...
but you didn't get as many of those back as you anticipated.
No, we sent them out. We just didn't get them back.
We have representation from all age groups.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's just, this is the typical response.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Interestingly, too, and I thought this is just a general question that we ask right at the beginning of the survey. We start them off with generalities. How do people feel about living in Indiana County? Mm-hmm. And this has remained pretty consistent over the years. 20% find it very desirable. 53% find it somewhat desirable. So that's pretty good. Now, only 5% think it's an undesirable place to live. Mm-hmm. And what has changed a little bit in the last 5 years is how people feel as Indiana County as a place to raise children. In 2012 and 2007, 54% thought it was a good place, 35% thought it was an excellent place. In 2012, 48% thought it was a good place. 39% thought it was an excellent place. Now, in 2017, 48% still think it's a good place, but only 19% think it's excellent. And as far as, then it went way down to fair. 26% think it's only a fair place to raise. And that could be because of what the perceived issues of drug and alcohol problems.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I do think that also correlates to the employment opportunities. That was a very notable response on here, that there was a big decline on that. So
Big decline in the employment, the perception of, again, this is what people perceive in that
I think
demographic that we ask about.
That's very important to point out. This is what
Yes.
people perceive to be the case. It might not necessarily be the
You'd
case.
have to go to CareerLink and ask them what are
Right.
the exact statistics for Indiana County. But the perception of employment opportunities in general in 2012 was poor opportunities, 25%. In 2017, 51%. So that is double.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. And we've had some really positive news here in the last couple of years, and particularly this year. And now we're thinking about the cracker plant in Beaver County and the way that those jobs that will be right there are going to have some correlation to jobs here in Indiana County as well. And yet you hear a result such as that, and you, gosh, that's almost a shocking number.
I also think there's a little bit deeper to this. I think it's the perception of what a living wage job, like one that's a good paying job. I think that's really key here, because it's more difficult to work 2 and 3 jobs and string those together and still be present for family life and your kids, because you're working, and it's really stressful to do that. So I think that's really a key thing to point out. If you're stringing a bunch of jobs together just to try to make a living wage, your perception might be that the job opportunities aren't very good, because most people would just say they'd like to work one job with a decent wage.
We have a few moments left now with Lisa Spencer and Kathy Abbey Baker. The Speaks Up survey is out. The numbers have been analyzed. Now comes getting those numbers before the public and actually speaking to them. You have 4 meetings scheduled.
Yes.
Starting next week.
Starting next week on August 15th, that's next Wednesday, we will be out at Tall Pine Terrace in the social room in Clymer. And that is at 2 o'clock. So that'll be our first community presentation. So what we're asking is, if people are interested in coming, could they just give our office a call at 724-463-8200, extension 3, just to give us a heads up, so we know, what kind of crowds we're looking at here, and make sure that we have enough room for everybody. So next Wednesday at 2 o'clock, we'll be in Clymer at Tall Pine Terrace. Then next Thursday at 2 o'clock, we'll be going down to Blairsville for Chestnut Ridge Terrace in the social room. So they're helping us out with some free rooms here. The following week, August 22nd at 2 o'clock, we'll be going up to the Rossiter Fire Hall. So we're trying, and then the last one, August 23rd, we'll be here in Indiana County out of CareerLink. That one's going to be our only evening at 6 o'clock in the evening. So we would really, what we tried to do is just kind of shoot up the middle of Indiana County so that we can get into the communities, so people could feel more comfortable getting to maybe one that's a little bit closer to where they live.
And when people come to these meetings, what exactly is going to happen? Are you going to have the data available to them? How is it going to be presented?
Well, I think what we're going to, we have a PowerPoint ready. So the PowerPoint, the way I envision it is going through the PowerPoint, because it's really quite interesting how Kathy has this all analyzed down. Like I said, she has it from 2002, so you're able to track that all the way to 2017, which is really nice to see. I'm a visual person, so I really need to see that, on graphs and things. But the other part of this is, we want a discussion. We want a discussion with people in Indiana County. Maybe somebody didn't get a chance to fill out the survey, but maybe they have some things to say and they'd like to come and be part of it. Now, the one in Indiana at the CareerLink, I know that Cammie Anderson from the Drug and Alcohol Commission is going to be there with us. And so that's always positive. We're trying to get some other people to come up with us for some of the other presentations, but I just feel like we just can't have it here because transportation is always an issue in our county. And so that's why we're kind of going out into the community to see if we can, generate some discussion. It matters. It matters.
It really does. And when you do surveys such as this that are countywide, it might be a little more difficult because you don't know who's responding to determine exactly where the answers are coming from. Are they centralized here in
we do
Indiana
know
County,
that.
or are they out? You do have?
I don't have that in front of me right now, but we do ask for zip codes and borough townships. So there is a breakdown of where people live that responded. So we can get that information out as well.
And I was just typing it in here because I wanted to make sure I had it. The Walk for a Wonderful Life. We were talking about suicide in the last half hour.
Yes.
The Walk for a Wonderful Life is actually coming up next
It is
month.
September 23rd, and this is our donation-only walk. We're going to try this on donations only, so you can hop on to STF, what did I say, STF.com. Oh, I have it.
Suicide Task Force of Indiana County. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's STF 32.
At stf32.com because I gave you the email last time. And so if you want to register for the walk, and it's donation only. So we're just hoping that's out at the Indiana Mac Park on the track. And it's a 5K, but there'll be a presentation there as well. And we're asking for people to come out in light of this being something in the forefront of people's minds in Indiana County. But we just wanted to touch briefly on a couple of other areas that had come up. Definitely mental health issues. That was in the highest priority list. Also, developing youth skill, like kids and their skill, like youth skills and education skills for children. And I think that's really an important thing that has come out too, which is right up Kathy's alley with all that she does with the Children's Advisory Commission. And I think I wanted to make sure we got most of that list done.
Especially in light of the great announcement that was made for Alice Paul House.
Oh,
And that's
absolutely.
that is just wonderful, and that shows that there wasn't a top need, a high priority to address domestic violence and abuse issues from this survey. And look what happened.
That's great.
I mean, I'm not saying that this caused it, but it's been, that has been a need for years.
Well,
and
it's definitely neat.
Indiana County doesn't pursue things such as this unless it sees the need, and the people within Indiana County see the need, and indeed they did.
Right.
And they have for years known about the problems that Alice Paul House is having with its current facility,
Right.
the need to build a new facility. So here comes $1.5 million. Unless people speak up, which is what
Yes.
this survey is titled,
Yes.
unless they speak up and let their voices be heard. There are a lot of people reaching into Harrisburg and saying, I need money for this, I need money for that. All kinds of worthy causes. Indiana County needs to be right there.
Right. I'd like to leave you on a positive note for as far as the drug and alcohol issues. The heroin overdoses have taken a steep decline, a very steep decline since last year into this year, which is good news for Indiana County. Now, a little bit of the bad news is they're kind of maybe moving to different, like maybe cocaine and meth are up a little bit, but the heroin overdoses have declined. So we wanted to look at that a little bit more because our Drug and Alcohol Commission, they are everywhere. They started the warm handoff program over at the hospital. They have Narcan all through the county. You can get the Vivitrol shots when you're coming out of prison. You can take Narcan with you when you're coming out of prison. They have the new education or the mandatory education that's going on with the elementary students, and that's going clear up through high school with their red ribbon weeks and everything that they're looking at through those. So I mean, it's just, there's so much going on that side that I'm hoping just a little bit of that is letting those numbers come down, because we couldn't definitively tell you that it's because of this program that those overdoses are down. We couldn't do that, but I'm praying that everything together is really making an effort.
Ladies, we went deep here today, and we got a lot of ground covered. There's a lot more to cover, and folks can sign up,
Yes.
let you know for those meetings that are going to be held the next 2 weeks. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us here this morning.
It was a pleasure.
All
We
this
like
is-
being here with you.
There you go. Well, thanks so much. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160, 101.1 FM.